Hello folks, and welcome to this week's news video. Now, I'm on this page on my website, notaguru.co.uk, because the Goodwood Festival of Speed competition is still open. Don't forget, I've got 2 tickets for Thursday the 23rd of June available. As soon as I get them in, I'm going to close the competition and I'll give the winner a quick ring and let them know I've got them, and we'll arrange how we're going to hand them over and everything. As I said before, it's completely free to enter, although I really appreciate it if you could buy me a coffee, because it costs a bit of money to do this thing. It doesn't give you a better chance of winning if you do buy me a coffee or anything, but thank you to those that have. Only about 50 people have entered so far, so there's still a good chance that you could be a winner. Remember, it is on Thursday the 23rd of June. If I get the tickets last minute, I'll have to hand them to you at the gate, and that means you've got to be there early. So please only enter if you can attend. If someone wins and I call them and they say, oh, I can't go, I'm going to offer them to someone else, okay? Only 2 out of 10 of you that watched last week's video were subscribed. That's awful. I did get a few new subscribers last week, but it was terrible. So please subscribe and please give it a thumbs up. Thanks. So we're starting off with the BBC here. Petrol prices calls for more help as cost to fill tank hits £100. Driving groups have called for more support to help drivers after the cost of filling an average family car with petrol hit £100 for the first time. The RAC Motoring Group called it a truly dark day as the cost of filling a 55-litre tank reached £100.27 for petrol and £103.43 for diesel. The RAC and its rival the AA, more on that in a minute, urged the Chancellor to cut VAT on fuel or to reduce fuel duty further. The Treasury said that it provided £37 billion to ease the cost of living already. The AA have called on the government to cut fuel duty by 10p per litre immediately and introduce a fuel price stabiliser which would reduce fuel duty when petrol prices go up and increase when they drop. This is just common sense thinking, really. The government is not only charging fuel duty on all this, they're also charging VAT. So it's double bubble on the tax side of things. And of course, they could take a lower amount in percentage terms and still be earning more money. The government's making loads out of this because they're getting far more tax revenue from it. And of course, the oil companies are keeping the prices artificially high. When you actually look at the source price of petrol and diesel, they haven't gone up that much, believe me. By the way, I was reading the other day that the cheapest place to buy petrol in the world at the moment is Libya, and it's something like 3 American cents for a litre of fuel. So if you do want to get some cheap fuel, maybe just have a little drive over to Libya, fill your tank, everyone's happy. Hold on. Now check this one out from The Telegraph. The AA blames the RAC's reckless speculation for rising fuel prices. So the AA are basically arguing that the RAC constantly going on about these things is actually giving the fuel retailers or the oil companies sort of license to pile extra costs onto it, and that's artificially keeping the price high. Funnily enough, share prices of the oils companies are going through the roof at the moment. Who'd have thought? Now on to Autocar. EU Parliament backs 2035 ban on new combustion car sales. European lawmakers support proposals for a 100% reduction in CO2 output from new cars by 2035. The move effectively brings the EU into line with the UK, which will ban pure combustion cars in 2030 and allow only some hybrids for the following 5 years. It will mark a significant step in the bloc's journey to net zero carbon emissions. I'm not going to comment on this, but I'm really interested to read your comments, so let them fly. I know there'll be people on both sides of the fence here, and I even know some of the names of some of the people that will be on either side of the fence. But I look forward to it. Cazoo blames the effects of cost of living for cuts in investment and jobs. The online used car startup has cut 750 jobs, which is a 15% reduction, and it's stopped its subscription service. So I only just recently did a video about Cazoo subscriptions going on to Lease Loco, which was a great deal for the people at Lease Loco, and I thought it'd be a good thing for everyone. It's the weekend, so I can't speak to anyone at Lease Loco, but I'll be interested to get their thoughts on it. I'm sure they're as disappointed as everyone else. I also don't know what's going to happen with people that have currently got a car on a subscription from Cazoo. But Cazoo are blaming the cost of living, but you could look at some of their marketing spend, which is touched on here. So they have big money sponsorship deals with Premier League teams, Aston Villa and the mighty Everton, who, despite all the odds, will remain in the Premier League next year. Well done, boys. And they've sponsored cricket, you name it. They've had massive sponsorship. I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but I've seen things like this happen in the past when people set up businesses and they're just using other people's money, which so many of these big businesses are. It's very easy to spend other people's money, especially on things like marketing. And if it doesn't pay off and you don't get the right numbers back in, then it goes belly up. So not a massive surprise to me, given the amount they were pumping out in marketing spend. Thoughts really go out to 750 people that are losing their jobs. So Cupra did a launch event this week for a few cars and announced a few facelifts. So the Formentor and the Cupra Leon are both going to get a facelift. They also announced a few new models. So we'll start with this one, which is the Terramar. It's going to enter dealerships in 2024 as a striking hybrid-only crossover to rival the likes of the Hyundai Tucson and the Toyota RAV4. This is it. It's not particularly striking designs, nice enough looking car. It's going to be capable of around 62 miles in EV mode, which puts it up there with some of the best performing sort of plug-in hybrids out there, and no mention yet on pricing. Then you've got the Cupra Tavascan, I think it is, which is an electric SUV designed to rival the VW ID.5. So they've gone for quite bold styling on the interior on a couple of these cars. This one's going to be on the VW Group's MEB platform. It was first shown as a concept at the 2019 Geneva Motor Show. It's going to be dual motor with 302 brake horsepower and a battery range of around 280 miles. And then finally they showed the 2025 Cupra Urban Rebel. It's a hot EV Super Mini with 273 mile range. But the real news on this one is that they're talking about it being 17 grand, which if they produce something, I mean, it's still in sort of concept form at the moment, but if they produce something that looks like that for 17 grand and it's a hot Super Mini, that's going to fly off the shelves. You'll see inside as well, the styling's quite crazy on the interior, and they've sort of designed it to appeal to the gaming generation. So these look a bit like something you might find on your control pad on PlayStation or Xbox or something. And there's lots of funky lighting, crazy floor materials, and a few other bits of weird and wonderfulness going on in there. It'll be interesting to see if that actually stays in the production version. But it's quite a radical design. And they also mentioned that in future, Cupra designs will be moving away from Seat designs. So much like Volvo and Polestar, you know, initially looked very similar, in future Polestar and Volvo will start to look quite different. So they start to have their own sort of look and feel as a brand. And Seat and Cupra are going to be doing the same thing. Speaking of Polestar, the new 2023 Polestar 3 370 mile electric sports SUV has been unwrapped. Polestar promises that the 3 will bring sport back to the SUV ahead of a full reveal in October. I'm quite excited about this. I've got a couple of Polestars next month, but from everything I've seen and sort of looked and touched so far, I've been really quite impressed with Polestar. Haven't driven one yet, so there's the proof in the pudding. The new Polestar 3 electric SUV has effectively been revealed in a new official image that shows it completely unwrapped ahead of a public debut in October. Familiar Polestar styling cues are present: the Y-shaped Thor's hammer LED headlights, yellow brake calipers, wraparound rear light bar, and chunky side cladding, for example. But the new SUV's rakish silhouette is all new, more closely related to the upcoming Polestar 5 Grand Tourer revealed in design patterns yesterday. So I'll come on to that Polestar 5 in a second. But the platform for this one is going to be basically the same platform as the new electric Volvo XC90. I said they're talking about 370 mile range, but there's not massive amounts of information on it so far. But obviously in October we'll find out everything. So the Polestar 5, this is going to be 2024. Final design of UK developed EV revealed. UK developed Porsche Taycan rival to get ultra stiff platform and new battery tech. So here it is. So it looks very long and sleek, but certainly an interesting looking thing. The 5's an evolution of 2020's imposing precept concept, and as such will arrive in dealerships with the familiar coupe-esque proportions and a lengthy wheelbase that is lined up to rival the Mercedes-Benz EQS. There's not even any speculation as to any of the numbers around it, so I shall move on. Ford plans to cut Focus production from August. Once again, this is from Autocar, who seem to be supplying more and more of the stories for these videos every week. So well done, Autocar. Go and check Autocar out and subscribe to it or something. Why not? It's great. So production volumes of the Focus could be slashed as the American car giant is reportedly planning to significantly reduce output at its plant in Germany. Ford have got a couple of plants in Germany. One of them I can't pronounce, which is the one that the Focus is currently produced in, but they've invested almost 1.6 billion into a factory in Cologne, and that's where it currently builds the Fiesta. So you'd have to think that they're also going to produce the Focus in that one and possibly close the other one. I see they already closed their Indian factories, they closed their engine plant in Bridgend in Wales. 1,700 jobs went there. And they're saying that in April, the Focus sold 5,000 models compared to 10,000 the year before, where the Puma's sort of going through the roof. So, I mean, this could even be the end of the Focus. I can't believe it will be, but I suppose it's not outside the realms of possibility, is it? Once again, sad news for all those people losing jobs. Right, Goodwood. We've obviously talked about Goodwood already. Thursday the 23rd of June. If you haven't entered the competition yet, please do. The Radford Type 62-2 will make a dynamic debut at Goodwood. Festival of Speed visitors will be able to see retro-designed Radford 62-2 drive up the famous hill. Can't they come up with better names for these cars? I really don't like when they just give a car a number, especially a number with a dash in it. So it certainly looks very cool, this thing, in its JPS regalia there, livery should I say, not regalia. Radford, of course, is owned by Jensen Button and Ansted, among others, and you've got to think it'll be Jensen himself taking this up the hill at Goodwood. So this JPS variant features a 600 brake horsepower supercharged 3.5 litre V6 petrol engine from Lotus and a 7-speed dual clutch gearbox. Radford says that it's enough for the 0-62 time of 2.9 seconds and an electronically limited top speed of 186 miles an hour. The classic variant's got a 430 brake horsepower version of the same engine and a manual gearbox, and as such is marketing as a purist's option. I have just done a video on this which is live now, so if you haven't seen it yet you can go and check it out, and I'll try and throw a link to it up there. But Apple have announced a massive update to Apple Carplay, which essentially will be able to take over all the different screens and options of your car. I've done another video about it, so go and check that one out. So that's it for this week, folks. It's probably a bit shorter than normal, this video. It certainly feels like it's a bit shorter than normal. Thanks again to all of you that subscribe to the channel. And if you're in that 75-80% of people that are not yet subscribed, please do. And please give the video a thumbs up. And special thanks to those people that bought me a coffee and the ones that have done the monthly option. They buy me a coffee every month. It really, really is appreciated. So thank you so much. Now, if you haven't seen this video yet, I suggest you go and watch it. It's basically about how cars that appear as HPI clear and are HPI clear could still be insurance write-offs and could have been through a salvage auction and put back onto the road. There are examples in this video of cars up for sale for like 30 grand at main dealerships that have got this hidden history, and I explain why that happens, how it happens, and how you can make sure that your car doesn't have a hidden history. Thanks ever so much for watching, folks. See you next time.